So like in hip hop, we tend to glorify the wrong things.
Yeah.
And we glorify crime and misogyny, but we also tend to glorify being broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what do you think about that kind of mentality? Like for people like us, we don't glorify it, but we talk about it like this because it's like a badge. It's like we made it through. You know, you can't say I can't relate because I lived it. There's that, but then there's some people that are like, you're not legit,
Right.
unless you were broke.
Right.
Like, what do you? How do you feel about that mentality?
It's very interesting you say that because
So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to Life on Podcast. Y'all know this is where we listen and inspire friends and entertainment.
And everywhere.
That's right, because life happens to everyone. I am your host, Stone Stafford, here with my ride or die.
I don't get a co-host brand this time.
Not this time.
Johnny Vaughn.
You're lucky to be here. Yo, so we are here with Mrs. Fabulous herself.
Yeah.
Mrs. Berkshire Hathaway, top 10%. Don't call me poor, broke, nothing. Mrs. Cynthia Williams.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Thanks for calling. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
So just so you guys know how I came across this wonderfulness in my life is y'all know I'm a part of this entrepreneurial think tank. All right, it's called L.I.F.E, and it's changed my life. But a whole lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of top 1%ers in there. We just trying to fit in. But
Still trying to figure out how Stone got in
the
there.
1%ers was Mrs. Williams. So we met you on the Ritz-Carlton yacht cruise.
Absolutely.
And everyone knew you were there.
Yes.
When you had the yacht, and then you had Ms. Williams. Like her personality and her vibe is bigger than all get out. So we knew you were there, and everyone knew you were there. I mean, you were talking to people, you making people cry, you was making people feel good.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to get into your story only because of what you do, and you've reached a pinnacle of success.
Thank you.
That most people want to get to. But of course, it's not just about the success; it's what it takes to get there.
Yes.
And whether you're in entertainment or real estate, whatever it is, everyone wants to be successful, and there are some nuggets and things that go there that I personally feel like she can share with you guys that will go across the board, hence the entertainment and the everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen.
Nice job.
Mrs. Cynthia, you like that, right? Mrs. Cynthia Williams. So let's go from the beginning.
Alrighty.
Where you from?
First of all, I'm from the Southside of Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes. Grew up. It was 6 of us in one bedroom. My parents, very poor. Very poor. We struggled very hard. My dad.
Are we talking government cheese pour? Or?
Government cheese where you iron it, make a grilled cheese sandwich.
and the peanut butter tore up the bread.
Yeah, and the Spam. You put in the potatoes.
Because
They got a
sleeping in the
casserole.
dresser drawer type stuff?
Yes. Roaches was our friends, neighbors, you know.
Yo, hit that like if you can relate. Hit that like if you can relate.
Right. So yeah, that type of situation.
Wow.
Where my dad had to bring home a gallon of milk and 2 loaves of bread. Y'all ever had
Your
cereal?
dad went to go get milk and came back?
No, he worked at the post office.
I'm sorry. Some of that went over some of y'all head. Some of y'all missed that one.
No. See, I was telling you about the bread cereal. You ain't never had
The bread cereal?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yes.
I haven't had the bread
when
cereal.
you real poor, you take bread and you put it in milk and you make sugar, and then that's what's your cereal.
Yeah, we did that before.
And
I
that's
didn't
how,
do that.
Yeah,
I didn't do
yeah.
that.
That was
That's
right underneath ketchup sandwiches.
Yeah.
Ketchup sandwiches I did.
Yeah. I'm there with
so
you. I'm
know
right there
the
with you.
cereal situation.
I poured orange juice in my cereal one time by mistake, and my mom made me eat it. Well, because it was hard to
Was
come
it
by.
Lucky Charms?
It was hard to come by. I can't remember what it was. All I know is I threw up,
Yeah.
and she felt bad. But she
You
was
never
like,
had a real poor
her
soul.
whole thing was
always
her whole thing was to make me pay attention and not waste the juice and the milk. So
Yeah.
we get it.
So did you ever get the whooping where one person did something wrong and everybody got whooped?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I was the Jesus of the house. I got whooped for everybody. I'm not even kidding. Now, my brother's going to be like, you lie, Grant, because my brother didn't really get too many whoopings, but like my sister would just do stuff.
Yeah.
And my mom would sit there and be like, who did it? Everyone, not me. Finally, I'd be like, I did. And I would get the whoopings.
No.
Anyway.
No, they went down the line.
How many were of
It
you?
was 9 of us.
Ooh, what number are you out of the 9?
I'm number 7.
Okay,
I'm
nice.
no 8 next to the baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were almost a baby,
Right.
So this is me. I'm 4 of 5.
Okay.
Did you ever try to get rid of number 9? Because I sure tried to get rid of number
Still
5.
trying.
Okay.
Still
Still
trying.
trying. Still
Yeah.
trying.
But you blessing number 9 now, though.
I'm blessing the
You
whole
blessing
family.
all
I'm
of
the
them.
Joseph of the family.
I was the Jesus, she was the Joseph.
Joseph,
All
yeah.
right. ahead, Lucy.
I can't relate. I don't know. I'm still trying to find my place in mine. I don't know.
He ain't pick up. I just called him Lucy.
Right.
But go ahead.
Oh, I didn't hear it. It's okay. We'll let it slide.
All right, so back to Cynthia. All right, so you grew up with the bread sandwiches. I mean, the bread, cereal, and all that stuff.
Yeah, and so it was very difficult, but I knew that I was going to get out of there. I knew that I had to get out. And back where I came from, you either got pregnant or you became a drug dealer. Now, I did mess with drug dealers. So, hint, first thing, when I met my husband, he was the first guy I ever dated that had a job. And I didn't like that. Because when I first met him, I'm like, you got a job? Because all I dealt with was drug dealers. And I was a church girl. So can you imagine how that was?
Wait,
Yeah, exactly. The top two
I was a
most
church
successful.
girl.
No, that makes perfect sense.
It does, doesn't it?
The two
dated
most
drug
successful
dealers.
businesses in the world is organized crime and organized religion. So that goes hand in hand. It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up really heavy in the church. My mother was adamant about us being in church heavy. So for me to be so structured in church, they taught us that poverty was making us closer to God, but I just didn't believe that. I just felt like God didn't want us like that.
Right.
So they would make us wear tights to church. I would roll mine down, put little holes in. I was wearing holes before they became popular.
That's where the style started.
Okay, right. In Chicago with Ms. Williams.
Right. And so to be able to have that type of lifestyle, live two lives, actually in some ways, I'm living two lives now. Because I would go to church, direct the choir, but then my drug dealer guys would be meeting me outside behind, doing what we're doing. But even still, that was something I didn't want. Now, I've always liked money. Money is always like me. It was just how it came to me.
You said something earlier. You said,
Yeah.
I knew that I wasn't supposed to be poor.
Yeah.
Do you think you can kind of hone in on what that was? Like, what is it that you felt you knew? Like, why did you feel like you didn't need to be poor? You weren't supposed to be poor.
I think every one of us has a destiny that if we are sensitive to it, we just kind of know. I just knew that sitting with roaches, I just knew that the bread sandwiches, seeing my dad work at the post office and then coming home after working all night, and then we have to go to, I don't know if you all had like a Kmart here or Woolworth. I just said that wasn't it. And even when I would go to those stores, I would always put my fashion tips on it. And I never had new clothes. I had to wear hand-me-downs from my sisters. So my mom always kept our clothes very, very clean. She pressed our hair because we didn't have no beauticians. So, you get your hair pressed and you had to sit still for hours because you cannot sweat, because if you sweat, your hair goes back to how it was. And then you get whooped because you wasn't looking good for church. So, we came up very, very structured. We was in church all the time. Choir. We was in church 5 days a week. I never was able to go to a Bud Billiken parade, which they had on Saturdays. I went to Great America, which was an amusement park, in a skirt because they didn't allow us to wear pants. So
Was it Pentecostal?
Yes. Holiness. We went to church on Saturdays. We didn't eat pork. I didn't eat pork until I met my husband. Now I can't stop. Chitlins, hog maws, bacon. I can't stop. I'm addicted to it now. It's like whatever you are deprived from.
So he the real pusher over here.
Yeah.
You went from one drug to the other.
Literally.
I don't do crack, but I do pig for Jesus.
One of the things that I see a lot when it comes to hyper successful people is it's not always the first, second, or third kid that makes it pop.
Correct.
And sometimes it's the kid that's close to the last one or the baby.
Right.
Was it because of what you saw, maybe the pacifism or the lack of drive in your older siblings that might have sparked something in you? Or was it just only solely pulling yourself up by your bootstraps?
I think it was my parents, because my dad used to pick cotton, and my mother is from Pensacola, Florida. So all they knew was poverty. All they knew, and one of the things that my father used to always tell me, my father had 6 girls. He was like, you never let a man do nothing for you, and you don't take nothing from the white man. So my father was very, very, very militant, to say the least, because of what he endured and the struggles that he had. So I started working at 14 years old. At the summer jobs, my dad would make us stay in line. So I don't know nothing but to work. So even when I retired in 2015 at 45 from the government, I still felt an emptiness, like I had to work. And so I think when people understand the value of working and what it does for you. Now, I haven't graduated high school. I graduated high school. I didn't go to college. I taught myself how to type at the federal government. People go to lunch. I'm sitting there learning how to type. I'm sitting there were starting at the ground level, but I always knew I was going to take it over. You know, you born with certain things. You know it's on the inside. I'm built this way. I've always faked it until I made it, and now I made it, and I'm still doing things to empower other people. I don't think I'll ever stop.
So like in hip hop, we tend to glorify the wrong things.
Yeah.
And we glorify crime and misogyny, but we also tend to glorify being broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what do you think about that kind of mentality? Like for people like us, we don't glorify it, but we talk about it like this because it's like a badge. It's like we made it through. You know, you can't say I can't relate because I lived it. There's that, but then there's some people that are like, you're not legit,
Right.
unless you were broke.
Right.
Like, what do you feel? How do you feel about that mentality?
It's very interesting you say that because my kids were growing up in suburbia. And so they want to create this narrative of a hard life. I said, you don't know what a hard life is. You ride a school bus. You have a driver. A hard life is when you got to walk to school, holes in the bottom of your shoes. You don't fight your way. Somebody bullying you. But they want to create these narratives to make them seem like they're hard or they about that life. But they don't really understand when you escape that life, being shot at, being put in somebody's trunk, dealing with these drug dealers, you know, just having money like this, and you make it out to be legit. That's when you can really brag on how you made it, what you've done.
What are your feelings though about our culture where we make each other feel that way? We make each other feel like we're not legit to the point where like your kids feel like they have to have this hard life persona when it's not true.
That's a crabs in a barrel mentality where you just haven't got out and experienced enough to get past doing that.
But you know, it's not just that. When I was at the federal government, that was the whole thing. Oh, you got this good government job. You can never leave this job. And so when I started talking about leaving the government, they thought I was insane. Like, because I had worked myself up again, worked it up with God's grace. I kept working and working. And so when I told people that I was going to retire, they thought I was crazy. Like, why would you leave this job? And I'm like,
a good job.
Why would I stay?
Right.
It was not that why would I leave, it's why would I stay? Because as I was working, people work at the government 30, 40, 50 years, raise their kids, put them through college, then they retire and they die. Because truly, you died there. And you didn't even really realize that you were dying at a place that was holding you captive. Right. That's the same narrative as it is with the streets. People don't realize the streets is not about your present life. It's about your past life. It's a testimony about how you made it out, how you go back, and how you're helping somebody else. I don't need to shoot you up to say, hey, I'm hard about it. I'm hard because I made it out. I survived. And that's the real story that people need to understand.
All right, I'm going to unpack an old can of worms.
Go ahead.
Start a little trouble.
Start it.
So, are you trying to tell me that you had a choice?
To get out?
Mm-hmm. And just so you know, I'm not totally doing it for that reason.
This is for me, Miss Cynthia. He's being petty right now is what he's doing.
No, actually,
like
my attitude is a little bit different about it. It's not quite as staunch as it used to be.
Sure.
No.
Which is why I want to ask her.
All right.
So do you feel that people genuinely have a choice? Because listening to you, it sounded like you could have gone one way or the other.
Yeah.
And it sounded like so. One, do you feel like you had a choice? And then two, what is it that helped you make the choice not to grow up in the streets, but you know what, that's not for me. I'd rather do it the legitimate way, if you will.
Okay.
Arguably.
So I feel both ways on this.
Okay.
In a sense, I did not have a choice because statistically, I should still be there. Okay. But because I saw people getting shot and because I saw how the struggle was and because I just didn't see myself dying young. But then I had a sister who went off to college. And I remember her coming back one day and she would just come and pick up me and my baby sister. And she lived in Hyde Park. Hyde Park was the thing in Chicago. And she would pick us up. And she would take us back home. And something in me just said, I don't want to live like this. So I think that the choice is when you expose to somebody that's out. But as long as you stay in the mud, you're going to make mud pie.
And that's what Johnny was, that was his part of it too. Is like when you've only had,
that's it.
When you've only had one view,
absolutely,
one
he's
environment,
absolutely correct.
That's all you know.
Absolutely.
And you can't want for something that you don't know about.
I've waited for that vindication for 5 years, Miss Cynthia. Thank you so much.
I've always known it. I've always had it. I've just let she brought it out. That's the power of the Cynthia Williams effect.
Stepping stones.
Yeah, because seriously, every girl desire was to be with a drug dealer. You know, I'm cute. I'm pretty. I think I'm all right. You know, and so You know,
I haven't taken my eyes off at one time. I don't know if
well,
you
you
noticed.
shouldn't.
I'm just
Keep
saying, I'm just
looking.
saying.
Yeah, we got one over there that was trying to do all that before.
Yeah, but seriously, the thing was who could get the best drug dealer. And I remember my guy, he was it, you know. Then I had a couple of Haitian guys. And I just remember the one Haitian guy I was dating, when he put me in his trunk and he was going to shoot me, he was going to kill me. Nobody knew where I was at because cell phones wasn't big. We had
Sure.
those big,
Yeah, the big brick
things, yeah.
you know, and it's just like, you know, how much more of this can I take? So then it was like, that's what I thought the thing was. You know, we had the little, you know, the diamonds and the Gucci rings, you know, all of that. But then again, when someone introduced me, when I met my husband, he was in the service. I'll never forget that. And when my mother even met him, she was like, oh, he ain't gonna last, because he was so opposite.
Too clean.
Too clean. He was quiet. And I remember the first gift he ever bought me was a TV. I'm like, oh, this boy got to go.
So he's corny.
A TV. But it was about because I didn't have a TV. And the TV that I shared with my sibling had the antenna and all that. So he was thinking forward, whereas everybody else who I was dating was thinking about that moment.
This one didn't need pliers to change the channel. Is that what you're telling me? It had a remote to it, didn't it? Upgrade. There you go.
It did. Seriously. And somebody had to hold it right here.
Yep.
And then you had to turn it
Yeah,
like
don't
this.
move. Don't move.
Right. Just be still, y'all. So, you know, hindsight, you know, if I would have continued in that lifestyle, I wouldn't be here now. You know, even now, some of my good girlfriends, they still have man problem because they're still searching for that real man. And he's right there, but he's too clean.
Right.
And see, that happens when you come out the mud and you get a clean dude. The dirty dude still attracts you because that's what you know.
Oh yeah. No, I had a long-term residency in the friend zone. That was what it was. So, all right. So again, so you are in the top 10%
Yes.
in the country.
Yes,
of
nationwide.
Berkshire Hathaway brokers or agents?
Oh, nationwide, the whole network.
Okay. And are you a real estate broker or agent or both?
I'm a broker and an agent.
You're a broker and an agent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did that trajectory happen? Like when did the cloud break open and rain came down and you had this idea, I want to go into real estate? Like when did that happen?
Well, again, certain things are forced upon you when you don't have a choice, because I was just being tired of just being a government worker, because I'm not a person that gets comfortable with anything. You know, I'm off the cuff. So whatever I feel in my spirit, I'm just going to do it. And I remember I was a director in human resources and they was offering a buyout. And I was just getting tired. Everybody was older than me. I started the government 1 week after I got married. And that was 25 years. I'm like, I just can't see myself just doing this, you know. And it got old for me. It just got old for me. And I remember I was telling my husband, I came home from work one day and I said, you know, they doing this buyout. And he said to me, you need to take that. Now, certain words I don't use. But this word, I was like, this nigga done lost his mind. I said, he wants me to give up my good government job,
right,
you know, to go on nothing. Because, you know, we were going to do a fashion business, which we did. But then as I kept thinking about it, like, what's out there for me? What's more out there for me? And I've always wanted to do real estate. And real estate, I'm in Northwest Indiana, so there's no cousins out there for me. Mm-hmm. So I had to tap in again to where people don't look like me. And then they definitely not getting the money that I command because I'm the queen. So it's just like when you break these ceilings and you go against the grain when you're not introduced to certain things. And I had these people, my friends, they had this mansion and they gave me one room in that mansion. And anytime they would have these events, this is Cynthia's room, they introduced me to that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I always said, I'm going to have a house like that. I'm going to have a house like that. And many, many years, they never gave up. And I was wild and I was always Cynthia. But I just developed into the authentic, mature Cynthia now, who money is a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. I call money, it comes to me. You know, I call people and it comes.
Yep.
And so people have to realize if you're scared of money, money is power. at the end of the day. So when we hear these rappers talking, it ain't about the biggest gold chain. It ain't about the car that you want. It's about how you making change and what you doing with what you doing. So it's a mindset. So when they talk about these mindsets, so I don't even really listen to rap anymore because I try to identify how does it make sense now.
Right.
Is it about shooting you up? No, it's not about that. It's about having sex or how. No, it's not about that. If you're gonna send a message about how to get out.
Right.
I'm raising a 10-year-old boy right now. And one of the challenges that I have is something that you touched on earlier. He's growing up in a lifestyle that I didn't touch until my 20s.
Okay.
In private school. Well, he's homeschooled now. He's got a caliber of friends. He's got access to stuff that I didn't. He's got more passport stamps than most adults. Like he's things that are normal to him aren't normal to adults. He made a statement a month ago. He was like, "Dad, we're from the hood." And I was like,
right.
Hold on.
Right.
All right, let's have a talk. And we did. We had to sit down and talk about it. And I said, I am. You can't say that. One of the things that I'm finding it hard is, one, getting him to understand the difference between what those things are, and then instilling in him that drive that gets you to that point where you can get it out of the mud. You're obviously inspiring a lot of people to do a lot of different things. Outside of real estate as well. But I mean, even in the real estate world, how do you help them flip that mindset? How do you teach mindset? Because I haven't figured out how to teach it to a child yet.
Yeah.
And once you get to a certain age, the old dog, new tricks thing becomes solidified. And I find it really difficult to get adults to understand that you just have to see something differently before you understand.
I love it when we vibe.
It happens sometimes.
Literally,
I'm bringing y'all
because you
together.
said it 3 times that I didn't see myself. I didn't see myself. I didn't see myself. And same question I was going to ask, like, is that something, can you pinpoint why you didn't see yourself? Was it parents, was it an environment, or was it something that was innate in you? And to his point, because there are some people, there's nothing around them that where they can see themselves like that. So to his question, how did you get that mindset and that vision for yourself?
Well, my sister, and I'll give her credit for this, she used to always say, fake it till you make it, and because we did not see ourselves, and I never saw a future Cynthia in my environment. And that is something that we don't see. We don't see our future selves. So even when I began in real estate, I never saw a future Cynthia because most black women are not power in Berkshire, for one. Right. And I knew that I was going to break that. I knew for a fact I was going to break that. And I said, who is future Cynthia in real estate? Who is future Cynthia so that I can make other black people want to sell real estate? Because when you have real estate, that's power. That's power. That is power in itself. And so you said something about your son, right? Let me tell you what I do to always keep myself humble. I always go back to where I grew up at. I always, if I'm in the area, I go back. I always go back because something in me has to have an anchor of where I come from, because people see stuff now. They see the red bottoms, they see the Gucci, but I always got a pair of them old shoes where I had to wear that same pair of shoes that was passed down from my sisters. So when my daughters say, oh, yeah, I'm from the hood. No, like you said, your parents are. So even though we get our house clean, I won't let the housekeeper clean my daughter's room. I will not let her clean.
You know I love that.
No. She don't get to clean your room. She don't get to clean your bathroom. No, she doesn't do that.
Nice.
You have to wash dishes. My daughter is in the menopause child. She's in everything, but you still have to maintain a house. Because if I don't teach you how to clean a house now, and even though you will make money, you will be successful, you still have to have the basic. My sons know how to cook because I don't want you dependent on a woman to do anything for you. My husband's military, so we have a very structured house to his credit, but to me, I'm all things. I bring them all over. So when I have events, everybody shows up, and I do open events. So I bring in the homies. I just said, don't come in here smell like weed. Do it before you get here, whatever, because I want to invite you, and I want to introduce you to better.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people are not introduced to better.
So that's the number one thing that I tell people all the time, is that you have to figure out a way to get yourself introduced to it. I think it falls under the whole concept of you don't know what you don't know. When you're in those situations where you don't see an opportunity, you don't see a you. All you see is the surrounding environments, but you have that itch and you want more. How do you do it?
Well, I think you have to open your mind to look for more, because the only way you can see something is Or only way you can find something is you look for it. But then the question becomes, what if what you're looking for doesn't look like you? And that's the problem. That's the problem when it doesn't look like you, and you have to be the first one, and you have to be the pioneer, and people think you crazy. You're going to get, every person is going to tell you no, guarantee. They're going to tell you you can't do it. You know, even when I left my job, they was like, oh, you'll be back. No, I won't. It's like an ex-boyfriend. Any of my ex-boyfriends will tell you I'd never go back.
We ain't spending the block on nothing.
Nothing. We done. We out of here. And so I think when you make up in your mind survival, now I'm a survivalist. You will never ever see me under the radar, or how do I say it? I'm going to survive. I am going to survive. Having that many siblings and we will always fight. All I knew was to fight. We physical fight. We ain't like none of that. We fought like women on the street. You know, we street fought. And so I remember I had to take her for my mom. And I always made a vow to my mom. I said, when I get old, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I created a lifestyle that her last days are her best days. And not only do I take care of her, I take care of her husband. So then my house, I bought the houses that I bought so that my family can come over. Now, did it create jealousy? Absolutely, because they thought I was trying to be better. I'm not trying to be better. I am better. You know, so there's a difference. I'm not trying to be like the Joneses. I am the Joneses.
I'm done faking it.
So then you have to create something inside of you, because now my fight is not with my color. It's with the white folks.
You actually spoke to the fact that you have to look for something that's not you, that doesn't look like you. My clients are global, just like I'm sure yours are. Stone's clients are also all over and global. I have a lot of clients that I work with, though, that will not work with someone if they don't look like us. I only work with black people. And they're vocal about that. And I don't really have a problem with it. It has hampered some projects. One of the ones that I brought you in on was one of those. And it makes things move very, very slowly. And I always see that as a closed-minded process, because I get the mindset of you're not seeing yourself, so you want to subscribe to the thought process of keeping it within our community, but sometimes that stepping stone is outside of your community. So how do you open your mind without keeping a closed mind in the same process? Because that's a huge challenge I'm seeing with a lot of people.
Well, I was forced because I kept moving away from my community. I saw less and less of me until now. I see none of me, none. So the future Cynthia was a white Cynthia. If that makes sense. It makes sense. And so it was like every person that I saw that I wanted to be, they were white. But I wanted to change that narrative and show a black girl, a young black girl, there is a future you out here, and I am her. I am authentic her. You know, and to make people respect you globally, that's hard. That's hard, because they pin you into this type of black or this type of black. I'm this black. And most people are not used to that. And I remember I had a breakdown because when I went to go show this house, and because of the demand, I'm the queen out there. Most white, my clients are pretty much white. And it's funny because black people really don't vibe with me. Interested in real estate. They would trust.
No, that makes sense.
They would trust a white person, which I know is screwing them over.
Right.
Than to come to me.
We still, after all this time, equate success with being white. I remember we had someone here at the studio, and he walked around. He was impressed how it looked or whatever and how they were treated. And he says, man, you run your joint like white folk. And I said, but why is that? How come I can't just run it like a successful businessman? Like not even like a successful black businessman. Why can't I just run it like a successful business? Why do you equate the two? And I thanked, I said, I know what you meant. And it's a compliment. So thank you. I said, but we got to break that. Like white doesn't equal right.
Well,
white doesn't equal wealth.
We've all got that same type of story. My first radio job was the same way. My program director said, Jay, I was going by my name at the time. You can't be so urban. I was on a pop station. It was a top 40 station. I was playing the crap out of Miley Cyrus and Ellie Goulding at the time. And he said, you're too
can't
urban.
Be a ninja over here.
And I'll never forget, I was going into Pumped Up Kicks. That was the song. And the break was amazing. That was the first time I actually got pat on the back for it. And he said, "That's the white boy in you." And I was like, "Hold up, bro." Like, he meant it in jest, and it was a joke. But at the same time, those jokes have undertones.
Yes, they do.
That can, if you aren't secure in yourself and you know that, they can permeate. And that's one of those things too. I think in order for you to do what you had to do, you had to have that identity to be able to know that just because I'm seeing white Cynthia, I'm gonna change what that looks like. A lot of people don't know. They think that if I don't see it as me, then I only have this ceiling and I can't get there. And that's that closed-minded when trying to open your mind thing that I see running into is you see and you want the possibility, but because you don't see it, it almost knocks you back to it.
And it's something that you said, Jay. When I first started working at Berkshire Hathaway, and I purposely chose them. They didn't choose me. They were recruiting everybody out there, Becky, Sue, all of them. Now, I am the only agent out of all of Northwest Indiana that worked for the federal government, and they never recruited me. Never. I was never on their radar. So when I walked in there, they was looking like, oh, okay. And I remember the recruiter called me, and when I went into the office and I talked to him, because I'm a professional negotiator, so you cannot not out-negotiate me. And I remember he found out, we was having a conversation, and he wanted me to sign on the dot right there. I said, let me tell you something. You're not going to Shark Tank me. I said, you're going to wait until I make my decision. And I remember when I first started working for Berkshire, and I would look at all the pictures, no blacks. And I said, And when I started working there, they would have these meetings on Cynthia. They're saying, oh, she's so much. And one of the ladies, she just outright came, because if you make them mad enough, they going to talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, well, you're bringing a different type of genre in here.
Genre? We're genre now.
Right. And I said, well, what is that? You know, I know what she was talking about. I said, well, what is that? I said, because the only genre, and I was being funny, that I see is green. Because money is green.
Hey.
Now, I don't know what you see, but this is what I see. Right. And I remember about 2 years ago, the broker manager at that time, Craig, he said, Cynthia, all of them were against you. They was like, you have to tone her down. She's just too much. She's doing this. I said, now look, I'm the rock star. I'm the queen. Right. And if you don't allow people to put you in that circle, especially when they don't know where you come from, you don't understand my hustle mentality. Why y'all get to go home at 6 and I'm still here at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock talking to clients because I have to. When you all get to go home at a certain amount and my husband's there and my children there and I'm still hustling because my 2 steps equal your 1.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. That's a fact. And then to go in a Republican. Now, I'm in a complete, Mike Pence lives out there with us. I'm in a complete Republican state, you know. So I show up. So then you have the old, rich, good old boys, which I'm not opposed. And when I first come in, I can feel the vibe like, ooh, this is her, because my whole staff is white. And so when I show up and I'm all like, hey, everybody, the queen, they like, whoa.
They're like, oh boy, it's Shaniqua.
Right.
Because that's like the only black name they know for a woman. Right.
And then they get an idea of who I am. I'm very poised, I'm polished, and I'm ranked. So it's like, how do you get this? So they get to be introduced to black excellence that they don't see on TV.
You said so funny. You mentioned party because you guys were talking about we were all talking about associating and how we associate success and money automatically with white people and this and that. I was going to pivot a little bit because we're in an election year. Your thoughts. I don't expect you to give the defined answer. I just want your opinion, your thoughts. 2-part. 1, why is it, do you think, that a lot of African Americans feel they're supposed to go Democrat?
Did you just start something? Did he start something?
Yes.
I don't know.
This is my argument.
That was yes. Hold on a second. Let me get my earplug. But here's my thing. But here's the thing.
Yes.
But what's funny is, but then on the same side, right? Rural or even wealthy, but even more so rural white people the same way too. Sometimes they feel like they're supposed to go Republican. So when obviously you have thoughts on it. So I want to know that. And then I'm going to hit you with a challenging question. If I have to ask it again, I will.
Okay.
And that is, in your opinion, what is it that you think is positive about the Democrat or left side, and then what is it that you feel is positive about? Because we always point out the negatives all day long.
Right.
You're like, no, I really feel like they're doing this right, and they want this right, blah blah blah. And then I also feel like So I want to hear the positive and your thought on both sides, because that's a conversation we never have.
Right.
But the first one is the whole association thing. In your opinion, how did that came about, do you think?
Well, when I became a Republican, a lot of people were against me because I've been Democratic all my life. I've been Democratic because I'm black, if that makes sense.
To my point.
To your exact point. We don't know anything. We don't educate ourselves to understand what do Republican, not the person, what does the party bring to the people? Because I'm Democratic and I'm a black. It's like being Baptist. Born Baptist, I'm gonna die Baptist. That's the Baptist creed. And so being Democratic all of my life. But then when I got to thinking about, are they really helping our people? In a sense, are they giving handouts? Were they creating this environment to keep us with welfare and not wanting to work or not really wanting to fight? Is that a positive? And then I said, well, our people do need help. They need help, but they also need a bridge to come out of always needing. They
need help, but they need empowerment.
That's my problem.
Okay.
Help them buy a house. You empower. Don't let me be a renter. And that's one of the reasons why I left the government. That's one of the reasons I left the Federal Housing Authority, because all we do is provide these programs, Section 8, keep giving them vouchers. There were people that I had to approve vouchers for, been on Section 8 20 years. Then it became generational Section 8. I don't know if you all know what Section 8 is.
Oh, I used to rent out to Section 8.
I got a couple tenants that are Section 8 myself.
Right, yeah. But then it becomes generational.
Yeah.
And then I heard a young lady said to her daughter, that she's a supervisor, she does all this, yeah, you better go ahead and apply for this. I'm like, why are you telling your daughters to apply for Section 8 instead of getting a job?
Now, on the flip side of that, because he knows I dance on both sides.
Please.
So we feel that's where the Democrats need to improve.
Yeah.
On the Republican side of it, since we only have a two-party system,
right? What
is it that you feel that Republicans do that incentivize people to work?
I think now that's a loaded question right there.
Okay.
I just think in the Republican Party, they believe in wealth. They believe in the working ethic, against all that race stuff, because I think if you took race out of it, and I think that is what's making people make decisions on parties, not because of program, but because of race. If you took the race aspect out of it and just say, how is this party making me better for my children, for my children's children? How are they creating wealth? A lot of people hate Donald Trump. I don't care about any of that. He's a businessman. He's a businessman. Personality-wise, he's ridiculous. However, he's done business things, bankruptcy, all of that, because I had to file for bankruptcy. And it was like, oh my God. It was a business decision. A business decision. If I had been taught about money at that age growing up, instead of just working, trying to grab it, and understood what money really does and what credit, I wouldn't have had to file for bankruptcy, being overextended. I wouldn't have had to file, having to get all these payday loans, which they put in our black communities to keep them in a revolving circle. If you notice, they got all these payday loans, buy here, pay here. Those are criminal, I think, to us. Then they do these reverse mortgages. 2 of my houses for my parents. My grandmother's house was on a reverse mortgage, and my mother. And both of them got taken when they should have been generational.
My grandparents' house was too. I actually had to step in and contracted a short sale between the company to save my grandparents' house because they were trying to take it after my grandfather passed away. And I actually found out the neighborhood where we have those properties, 75% of the properties in a 2-mile radius of that for those are on reverse mortgages.
Yeah.
So it is. It's a predatory thing that's actually
predatory. So my question, and I want to ask these because I want to try to break stereotypes.
Yes.
Usually, whenever you start talking Republican, right, the very next word is either money or business. If you were a teacher in Chicago, a good teacher, you're changing lives. But we also know you ain't making no money. Would you still feel the same way?
I just got a call from someone who's a teacher, and she was like, Cynthia, I'm making $25,000 a year.
Jesus.
As a teacher.
That's ridiculous.
And this is for our future.
That is ridiculous.
You understand? The people that are forming our children, who are telling them if they don't see it in the teachers, and then the teachers don't know how to handle money, and they have to buy books, or they're using books that are tore up, they don't really have that pride in teaching. You can't teach me what you haven't experienced. You can't teach me what you don't know. So your question, I think that we need to pay our teachers, our educators a lot. The principal, because not only are they teaching, they're babysitters. They're you know, that's who these teachers have become now. They've become babysitters.
Well, that's a product of the system in general. I think
is.
we're talking about something systemic that we have to take a few steps back to even do that, because
But I want to make sure we don't go down a rabbit trail. Though.
no, and I was trying
I
not to.
agree with you, paying them more.
Yes.
But in the present state where they don't make more,
Right.
how is the Republican Party good for them?
I don't know that it is. To be honest, I think,
and that's all I'm asking. Is an honest answer.
No,
or
I don't.
honest
I don't
opinion
know.
at
Yeah,
least.
I don't know that it is, because people in that type of 25,000 below, the Republican is the enemy because they don't have a business savvy mind.
Or a business in general. I mean, it's not
In
just
general,
mine.
yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I can think of a friend right now.
Yeah.
He could probably come in and turn my place around.
Right. Yeah.
His heart is so into the kids, though.
Yeah.
And the volunteer organization he runs, my man makes peanuts.
Yeah.
He makes peanuts, but it's his choice. But for someone like him, I'm like, well, how does the Republican Party help you? And that's what I'm getting at. And so I want to let people know that it isn't all stereotype. Like there's some truth to that. So how do we? And this is again, you can be your opinion. How do we balance that, right? Because I agree with everything you said with the Democratic Party where they're falling short.
Yeah.
But then on the other side too, I see where it does kind of seem like Republicans are more for you got to make this much in order for that to really benefit you.
Right.
Which is why I feel our two-party system is broken, because there really should be some kind of a balance where the two can meet in the middle to help both sides. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I just think, the money that we should sow into people, the educators. I'm just a believer. If you sow into those who are educating and who are forming our future, and they feel better, not that they have to scrounge or they have to just make do, but if they understood wealth as a teacher, they can project it.
Right.
They can project it.
Now we're going back to mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. It always comes.
Yeah.
It always comes back
It
to
does.
mentality.
It does.
Absolutely.
I remember Miss Shield was my kindergarten teacher. Kindergarten. Now, I'm 55 years old. So you're talking about 50 years ago. Miss Shield came into the school, big old afro, and she was just so good, but then we didn't have any books. Our books were raggedy. They were just generational books. And it's like, now I look back at the school, County Collins, where I went to grammar school at, and I look at Corliss High School, and I look at the teachers, and I'm like, that's not what you want. When I teach people, when I mentor people, presentation is everything. You have to look like where you want to go. You have to talk like how you want to be heard, and you have to see things that you've never seen. So I think that with our culture, which I'm an advocate for, I have so many people. And I'm going somewhere with this. When I went to Berkshire, and they knew my history with fair housing, because that's my background. I'm heavy fair housing. And they wanted me to start this black coalition of realtors. And I said, And they said, how many black realtors do you have now? And they was like, well, we have some. What is some? Some has to be a number. And I would not go on any board till they gave me a number. And so they kept dancing around. And when people shooting smoke.
Oh, yeah.
They keep dancing around. And so I said, give me in black and white.
How more plain can I ask?
Right.
It was either single digits or they were trying to put something in place. What were they doing?
It was single digits.
There you go.
They didn't have any black realtors. So I said, okay, so we're going to do a diversity, not just black, but brown too, And so when we first moved into our house, I'll never forget, we were just left the job and we had lost everything. Everything. So I started at Berkshire. Now Berkshire got everything. We plugged to everything. And I remember trying to do a rental house for my husband, for my children, my mom, because she was living in the senior living, because my sister did that. And that's another thing I want to touch on about how we do our elders. And I went to go do this rental, and I said, okay, we do like $4,000 in rent. And I remember I went to this one house. And I think that house was maybe like 4,000 square feet. It wasn't a big deal to me because I'm used to that. And she sat there, two of them. And I said, well, I want to do a rental in this house. And she looked me in my face like I'm looking you in your face. And she says to me, in my face, well, how do we know you're not going to tear it up? I said, wait, whoa. I said, what did you say?
Man.
I said, now, first of all, you don't know me.
Right.
I said, second of all, if you would say that to me and I'm your colleague, what would you say to a customer? So I had to be very strategic to get rid of her because that's the type of poison I don't want in real estate. So her company were trying to recruit me and everything. And I told them, I said, yeah, I was going to sign the papers. So you got to play the game that's given to you to play. And I said, well, I got this situation. I was telling them about this agent. And they was like, who did that? I said, this agent. I told them who it was. I said, I could never work for a company that had an agent like that. Do you know they got rid of her? And I still didn't go to them because the thing about it is, if you don't stand up, and it ain't about all of this.
Right.
Some of my best fights is sitting like this with a smile. They're my best ones because I know I'm in a position of power. I'm not going to raise my voice. I'm going to be very, very controlled. I'm going to be very controlled because that's what people respect. They respect. You never see a queen holler. I'm a queen. In
case y'all don't know, her crown is being buffed on the side.
Over there on the side.
We just figured the light wouldn't bounce right, so that's the only reason why we ain't wearing it.
You're dropping gems and breadcrumbs for people to follow to get to the right way. Someone has left some breadcrumbs for you to get to what your next space is. You said earlier that you never stop fighting. You never stop growing. You're never going to quit. You're always going to survive. You've, in essence, made it by all metrics and all measurements that anybody would have for what you're doing right now. So the most generic question I can ask is, what's that next thing that you got your eyes on while you're dropping that ladder, helping people get up to where you are right now? Just like you were in that government job and you knew it was something different.
Yeah.
I would assume at some point, it's only so much. I mean, it's not. I mean, you always do something else in real estate.
Yeah.
But what's something that you can set your sights on to tackle where you don't see a Cynthia now?
Right. So.
Because I'm thinking politics. I'm sorry. I mean that.
No. It's funny you said that. When you talk about my next step, sometimes the next step is already there, but you have to walk in it. And being in the right position around the right people, it ignites you. So being at Berkshire, my first step was to get on that board. Because I didn't see anybody black on that board. That was my first step, and that just wasn't good enough. That was just being a top producer. That wasn't good enough for me. I said, then getting black agents to come to Berkshire, that was good, but it wasn't good enough. And so when I was at a conference, and I was just being me, because when you're authentic, stuff comes to you. When you are not fearful. And I remember they reached out to me and asked about California. I'm like, California? Like, me? Little chick from the ghetto? Not just California, Beverly Hills, California. And they started sending me down there, and I would go to each office. And I'm like, where your black agents at? That'll be the first question I ask. And they're looking at me like...
They've never been asked a question before, so yeah.
Because I'm going to ask that question. Yeah. I have to ask that question in all fairness to me. Right. And so finally, one of the guys pulled me to the side. He said, listen, we got these stars, we got these athletes, and they want a black agent. And they don't want the black agent that's not authentic black, who don't understand. Right. You understand? That's the difference. That's the difference. I'm me across the board. Right. So whether I'm in Beverly Hills or whether I'm in Compton, this is what you're going to get. My theme is luxury for every lifestyle. So whether you're buying a $100,000 house, whether you're buying a $2 million house or a $25 million, I'm going to treat everybody the same because that's my concept. When I started listing a $100,000 house in Gary, you would have thought I had picked that house from Beverly Hills because I had to show the people its value in real estate. So I just tweaked it, cleaned it up, get rid of dogs. And it's like, wow, put the music on. You change that. You ain't got to change who you are. Just change that. And it's like, people like, how did you do that? How'd you even think about that? Because I understand poverty.
Beverly Hills, man. And you're going to be running that office.
It's so funny because when I first went in there, and I went in there just like, hey... Matter of fact, when I was in California, I'm telling you, they laid it out. And they were having the lighting on Rodeo Drive. And, I went on Rodeo Drive like I owned it. And that's how you're supposed to do it, like you already owned it. And they were doing TV interviews on me. Even Channel 7, they was like, hey, it was because I had on some shoes. Those shoes I had on the yacht.
On the yacht.
Was only $1,500 made. And I knew those shoes.
They catch your attention.
They get your attention.
Catch your attention.
Yes. And it was like, because I stood out amongst the people. And I wasn't standing out like, hey, no, not that, because I love everybody. I love everybody. I love our people so much, and I'm just so proud of our people. We just have to create examples of how to break the mold and the mindset.
And I love this coming from you because, I mean, look, a doggone little commission in Beverly Hills could be anywhere from $500,000 to $5 million.
Yeah.
Commission, we just talking about commission only,
right,
off of one sale,
right?
So to go from what y'all call bread cereal,
yes,
to a $500,000 to $5 million commission,
right?
Someone has something to say, and you had plenty to say, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time to come on here and say that. I really do. I won't hate you for being a Republican. I'm just kidding. That doesn't matter to me because I'm purple, and people hate when I say that. I'm like, I'm purple. I say, you know what? I vote the candidate and the policies. That's it. I don't vote color or nothing else.
No, we don't vote colors. And when I got my car, can I tell the story about my car?
Go for it. Yeah.
So my car is a black Audi.
Which one?
The Q5. What's wrong with that?
I mean, I'm a Mercedes guy, but I like the Q5 a lot. That's all. I mean, we Audi and Mercedes folks, I mean, none of us like BMW, but
I've had that
BMW is the green party.
no, but I really like the Q5. Go ahead, I'm listening. I'm all ears.
So then when you have to think about thinking outside the box, when I got my car, again, that comes with debt. My car was paid for. And so my friends, they're gazillionaires. So they buy cars like you buy Doritos, you know. And King David from Nigeria, he keeps coming over with all these different cars. I'm doing selfies in my driveway. I'm like...
Wait, I'm sorry. Somehow I froze at King David keeps coming over. Like, I'm sorry. I'm talking about some of my mother-in-law coming over. You're like, oh yeah, and King David
Her
keeps
friends
coming
in
over.
a different class than you.
Yeah, I know. The only reason why I paused is because I had to catch up. I had to catch up to you. But
You
go
are
ahead.
King David to somebody.
Somebody on Section 8. I mean, no hate on Section 8. Hey, do your come up. Do your come up.
That's
right. But go ahead. Back to you and King David.
Right. So he come over, you know, because every person needs a place of safety. And because King David and all his people, you know, he was telling people about our house. I'm like, King David telling them about our house. They driving past. And so he kept coming over this car, and I got annoyed. I got jealous, like, Kenneth, now why am I taking selfies in my own driveway?
Nice.
Not finna outshine a queen in her yard.
Right.
Funny.
I mean, this is the honest to God truth. I'm just like, this ain't, it's wrong.
This is wrong.
Right. He'd be like, come outside, Cynthia. Come outside.
Next day you go get the Q5.
Right. No, we already had it. We had our little car. I'm like, King David. You know. We got
like first day of school, you finally got something at Macy's, and then your friend coming in from like Prada, like, oh, here come Chad. Here come Chad.
Right. You already know it's coming. You already know. But those type of people you need in your life to force you to see outside the box. There's a moral to this story. So I keep on saying, now, what can I do to outdo them? You know?
I want to outdo a king. That's right.
Hey.
No goal is too large. I'm
just saying. I'm like, I'm tired of them. And then all they friends. I'm like,
they got a caravan coming, so it's not just King David.
Right.
All of them.
They got to outdo the whole team.
And you know, them Nigerians, they come like,
they deep.
I'm packed.
Yeah. The door opener has a door opener.
Right. And it's hard to get in that group. And so I said, now I got to do something about my cars because this is not going to keep happening. But again, that's that inspiration. That's what does it. And so
I like you keep using that word though. One time you said competition, whatever, but it's so again mentality, right?
Yes,
it's an inspiration. It's a healthy competition. It's not a jealous competition.
No, because it makes you think.
Well, that's kind of what I was hinting at earlier when I made the crab in the barrel statement. When you get to a certain dollar amount, I think, and I mean, I'm still not where I want to be, but I still have some friends who are in that 25, 30, 40,000, and then I've got friends that are clearing $1 million a month.
Oh yeah,
I'm not quite there yet, but I'm also nowhere near that bottom number.
Right,
and I can see that being around my friends who will buy a new car every couple months, it does make me want to do something. Not so much to stay in competition with them.
Correct.
But we can have conversations about money. I mean, I had a friend who was like, oh, Jay, why haven't you bought a new Mercedes yet? I'm like, I just got this one. He was like, yeah, you had it a year, man. It's time for another one. And I'm just like, first of all, stop counting my coins. But second of all, I feel what you're saying. You know what? Because I have my eye on that GT, and I want that GT, so it might be time to get the GT. And who's to say I can't do it? There's nothing wrong with having those conversations. And I think what you were talking about money not being evil, that's a part of that mentality that we don't ever really get rid of until we fully break out.
Right.
So it's not like you can kind of halfway be in, halfway be out. You have to literally break through that glass before you can see money's not a bad thing. We haven't started to, it's not even so much teach. Share is really what it is. That's what the truth about it actually is.
It's like our conversation before we got on the mic. We was like, what's the most important thing that money can buy?
Yeah.
That's options.
Exactly.
Options.
Yeah.
So how are we out doing King David?
So let me
what
tell
we
you.
doing?
So then, when we were on our way to a cruise, I saw this blogger, and she had this car, and I saw exposure, and I told my driver, follow that car, and he's like, you're gonna miss your boat. But I kept that vision in my head. And I remember I came home. It took me about a year and a half. And when I was telling people this vision that I had, everybody thought it was crazy. I said, no, I know what I saw. So at Berkshire, we was having one meeting, and I was getting so frustrated. I said, I want my car done, and I just can't. Nobody's understanding my vision. One guy. And I said, I got this idea of a 24 karat car. 24 karat. And they was like, they thought I was just talking about gold, just painted gold. And so I remember when I went in there to the guy, and he was like, well, we got all these different, because he was doing those cars, what's it, car show, whatever he does, those car shows. And I'm like, no, that's not it. He's like, you don't like this? I said, nope. With me, I'm an easy sell. If I see it, I like it, and I'll get it. And so about 4 or 5 months later, he came back, he said, I think I found it. And I remember I said, send for the sample, and it was 24 karat. I said, that's it. So when he brought it in, he says to me, okay, Cynthia, we can highlight this and we can do that. I said, no,
you want the car.
We doing the whole car.
We doing the car.
He was like, the whole car? I said, we doing the whole car. And he said, well, I've never done the whole car. I said, then you won't mess up. And that's what I told him. Then you won't mess up.
Right.
And so now, there's only 2 cars in the world like that. And it beats King David.
King David.
So you have a 24 karat gold card.
I do.
I got to shout out to your husband real quick.
Yes.
Because while most of the husbands that are in my friend group, we worried about our wives running up our Amazon credit card bill. You worried about golden wrapped cars. How are you handling this? Or you just
Gold to below. Hey.
So it's still, no matter what level, Amazon or gold wrapped cars. Yes, baby, that's all it is. Okay.
I figure like this: as long as if we able to do it, God is making a way for us to get it.
I like it.
Yeah.
There it is.
I love it.
And he knows I'm a faith person, because everything that we do, we have to go and put yourself somewhere. Just like with the Ritz-Carlton. I didn't think it was going to be no black people on there. Honestly. I always said, kiddo, I'm not going on this dirty boat.
Well, Tasha was there.
No, yeah, Tasha was there, but I didn't think they were coming.
Stone. I had to get him back. And that's what that was. He called me
Say I'm
Lucy
not
earlier.
black.
He said, you're not
He
black?
trying to say
He called me Lucy earlier. That's all that was. That's all that was. I was waiting for my chance, and you lobbed it up, and I said, "Yeah, that's it."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter was, I didn't expect any black people on there. I expected to be real dowdy and everything, but I knew it was my birthday, and there's no way in the world I was having that. And I came in there, and I said, we're going to celebrate all week long for my birthday. And them people said the Ritz-Carlton has never been that lively ever.
Nice.
So you set a precedence. And we was among the greats.
Yeah.
We was among the greats, and I was able to talk to everybody. Every day somebody was crying just based off conversation. Because regardless of your money, you're still a pure person. You're still human. And so that's what we have to remember. We all want the same thing. And there's a scripture in the Bible that says, money answereth all things. So I just happen to put my spin on it. If money answers all things, that means I have to call it. And I only call my friends.
Hey,
Hey, that's a mic drop. That's a mic drop.
we in the community call that a word.
Yo, I know. Look, I know for a fact y'all gonna be like, yo, where can I follow this woman at? Where can I stay in touch with her? Queen,
Queen, yeah.
are you on social media?
Yes.
Are you on social
I
media?
am on social media.
Do you mind people following you? And all
No,
that kind of stuff?
just to be honest, just go to my Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah, Cynthia Williams. I do have a website, but I rarely use it because they use it for me. But if you go to Cynthia Williams on Facebook, I'm the queen, hashtag.
I love
You'll see me out there.
I think we got mutual friends.
We probably do have. Am I in the blue church dress?
Blue Church. Oh, yep.
Told you.
There we go.
I told you.
We in there.
All right, it's Cynthia Cynthia Williams on Facebook. Johnny, where can they
Just
find
Johnny
you?
Vaughn, JUSTJONYVAN, all over.
Y'all know what it is, StoneStafford.com. And of course, everything you can listen, you can watch, share with your friends at www.lifeonpodcast.com. Cynthia, this was a treat.
Mother Cynthia, thank you.
We loved it.
Oh, you
loved it. Oh, you was dropping them all day. You was a boom, 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 boom.
You were elevated.
Look, you already know what it is. There's a bunch of stuff in here. You know, oh, what's the name need to hear that? Or what's her name need to hear that? Just hit that like, hit that subscribe, share that link, go on and share. Sharing is caring. All right, we love y'all. Thanks for your support.
Thank you.
Cynthia, thanks for coming. Love you. We love y'all.
Love you.
We out. Peace.
Bye.
So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.